Jackson. I'm from Columbia, South Carolina, and I play with the Memphis Grizzlies. On ESPN, I got up to 2. You kind of feel untouchable, but you can kind of lose yourself in it. Coming from the small town I'm from, not really many people make it out. You learn that, your time's gonna come eventually. If you really work at it, God will open doors for you. He was like, is this what you really want to do? I was like, duh. And then I said, yeah, and then we started, he's outside with me now. It's not gonna be easy. What are you willing to sacrifice? How bad do you want it and stuff? It's hard, but it's fair. And that stuck with me for a long time.
We believe in him. I think he's gonna keep putting in the work, and we're gonna do our part certainly to help him realize that potential.
This was the game that put Gigi Jackson with the Grizzlies. Being slept on is kind of like being underrated. Gregory Jackson. I'm from Columbia, South Carolina, and I play with the Memphis Grizzlies. Extroverted, kind-hearted, and loving. Country kid. We grew up on this lot of land where it was my grandparents' house, literally my uncle's and aunt's house, and then our house. So it's kind of like our whole family was right there. I'll say I'm so family-oriented. I got, my mom name tatted on me and different things like that. I always, want to make sure they're good and stuff like that. And I feel like they see a light in me that, hopefully I can uplift our family in any way that I can. As parents, they want to be proud of us, so they expect the best out of me. I'm fortunate enough to have both my parents in my life. Very, very strict household. I never went to any type of Friday night game for, middle school, high school football and stuff. We keep the Sabbath day on Saturday, so a lot of things fell on Saturday, so I missed a lot growing up, but I thank God for the way they raised me. I feel like they put me on the straight and narrow. Having installed in your mind to want to give your life to God, I'm not there just yet. But you learn that, your time's gonna come eventually. If you really work at it, God will open doors for you.
Michael Jordan is averaging 33 a game against the league.
I only knew who Michael Jordan was. Growing up, I didn't know what the NBA was, or you could go to college for playing basketball. Coming from the small town I'm from, not really many people make it out. Over the years, I just naturally kept getting taller. So, my parents kind of see that me being outside all the time, oh, he wants to play basketball. But I kind of, played every sport growing up, try to dabble in between, but I got hit real hard in my knees one time playing football, and I knew that shit was not it for me. It started with playing one-on-one with my sister outside. I feel like I developed some of my toughness from that, because you score on her, she might, hit you in the face or something like that. I think I started rec league probably around like 9 years old. My dad was my first ever coach. He's a powerful man that has like a powerful voice being a preacher. You have to be not animated, but you have to have energy. So, I'm used to all type of coaching, whether it be calming or, get your butt back over here and stuff like that. And he asked me after our very first season, I think we lost in the championship game. He was like, is this what you really want to do? I was like, duh. But he asked me again, and I said, yeah. And then we started, he's outside with me now, you know what I'm saying? And, working out different places, always being in the rec, but we always kept going to church on Saturday. So it was a kind of a full circle moment. Growing up AAU, middle school, and I would say freshman and sophomore year of high school, hugely slept on, because, I was the tall, skinny kid that wore goggles, so I wasn't taken serious at all, even though, I could go out there and get you however many rebounds you needed.
Is the man, Gigi Jackson.
Going into that junior year, when I did become the #1 player in the nation, like Slam and Valdez, I still didn't get those type mixtapes. So I still felt as though I was lacking or I was slept on in a way. I skipped my senior year of high school because, my mom and my dad, they felt as though I could take that pressure and, being pushed like that. On ESPN, I got up to 2, but on every other ranking website, I got up to 1. To be honest, you kind of feel untouchable. Everything was kind of just given to you, when I got to high school, start dunking and stuff, but you can kind of get the big head, but you can kind of lose yourself in it. I kind of was just coasting through it. Work ethic slipped off, when I started seeing all those things, and, when I got to college, that's when, I realized, these rankings and stuff don't matter at all. Everybody basically plays like the #1 player. So just got to find different outlets.
Breaking news on a CBS Sports HQ, and it is a big get for the Gamecocks. G.G. Jackson making it official.
A lot of distractions. Seeing how I stayed home. I was, tried to be considered the hometown hero and stuff like that. You develop that big head, and you expect everything to be given to you. And it's not. You got to go out and you got to earn it.
Jackson on the attack. Here comes G.G. Oh,
For me, selfishly, I always wanted to be in that spotlight. I got benched for doing something so stupid that still haunts me to this day. I went on Instagram Live and was talking trash about my teammates and stuff after a game. We played Missouri, and we played against Kobe Brown, who's with the Clippers. And I remember I came off the bench and I gave them boys like 25.
Jackson got the three, rattled it home.
And after that game, selfishly, I was like, I'm going to the league. No matter what situation I'm, but I can be benched and still come off and, do my thing and stuff. But to be honest, one of the best things to happen to me, because it from there, it started that, humbling stage, bringing yourself down from, I put myself on this super high pedestal. I never let anybody, talk down about my game and different things like that. So when that happened, I took a shot in the leg. I started to question a lot of things, like who am I? My mom, during that time, she claimed she didn't even know me. That's how I knew I got too deep into thinking that I was the shit. Because when my mom told me, she's like, I don't even know who you are anymore. And the following months after that, it was, kind of up and down. It would be nights crying and stuff with my mom, but that's why I'm so grateful, like I said, the way they raised me to always, like I'm learning now, the next play mentality, you got to get to the next game. So, it's always going to work out. Thank God with my personality and the man above, I was able to get back on the right track and on the good side of everybody. But like I said, you could end up getting a big head, so you got to kind of find that balance in between. Humbling myself really was huge. It's huge.
He had a bit of an up and down year performance-wise and didn't win too many games. However, he still managed to show off some high potential as a shot-creating wing/forward at 6'9".
You get to see your name for the first time on mock drafts. That probably right there was like, oh, I know for sure wherever I go, I know I'm going to have a way to get into the league if I'm on these mock drafts.
He has a ton of potential outcomes. I think he can be a high-level starter in the league, someone who provides consistent buckets. And
plummeted in all the mock drafts. My draft stock was messed up. People, oh, he's immature and different things like that. You got to keep your head down. You got to keep working. I went out to Dallas for about 2 months with my trainer, Coach Marcellus Brown, and my dad and my uncle, and we was out there grinding. And the whole time I'm still watching the media and stuff, but you gotta keep working. When it came to the workouts, I had about 14 workouts with different teams. I had to humble myself again. I'm going into those workouts, thinking I'm him Johnson and stuff. If I could go back, I wouldn't change anything about it. I would redo it the same way. In a weird way, it's fun, having to re-wear the same clothes over and over again because you're traveling so much everywhere. So it was a good experience. The reaction you get from people, or you see the smile or the impression you can leave on people. So, that's what I appreciate from the ground. It's almost like getting a tattoo. Like, it's gonna hurt, but that's why you get it. My trainer in Dallas, my weight trainer, he told me it's hard, but it's fair. That stuck with me for a long time.
About Gigi, because to me, he's going to be the hardest of out for me in the class, I think without question.
A fantastic guard out of South Carolina.
Oh yeah, shit got real, I promise you. We had a whole draft day party, all my family, all my friends, cousins, everybody's down there. And I saw my name on the best available picks, and I think they were at like pick number 14 and all that. So I'm just waiting. And it got to like midnight. My name still wasn't called, people leaving the party and stuff, coming into Instagram Live, sending laughing emojis, clown emojis. But, that was the hard part. I went into the bathroom and it was crazy, it was weird. My mom followed me into the men's bathroom and I'll never forget, she grabbed my hands. It was me and 4 of the guys I grew up playing with, and we sat there and we prayed. And, Jesus would have been there how hard we was praying. I swear. And as soon as I came out, we got that call from the Grizzlies. Kwame, you know, he told me over the phone, you know, it's not going to be easy. You know, we know what you can do, but, you know, there's these other things that we know about and that we saw, you know, like the, you know, the bad stuff, the immaturities and stuff. But, you know, they believed that I could, you know, overcome those things. And I would say that's the fair part of it. And I feel like they saw the human side of me, not just what I could do on the court. And to this day, I'm grateful, you know, for them picking me up, and hopefully I can continue to, you know, make great things happen with the Grizzlies.
We playing runs. I'm thinking I get to come in and, you know, all that. Nah, you gotta swing it, you gotta rotate, and my main job get to the corner. So I'm learning a different role. So
the two-way, it wasn't necessarily fun, but I feel like it was needed for me and the, you know, what goes on in my head and who I am, and going back to how I can easily get the big head. I definitely feel like if I would have went lottery or first round and got that huge contract, like, I would have been doing like idiotic things probably. I didn't really know what was going on because it's a whole new side of business that you have to learn and get into. Because my mom's my agent, so I wasn't with an agency to, you know, sit me down and walk me through all these things like that. But we wasn't, you know, freestyling it as well. You know, my mom's intelligent, so she kind of helped me maneuver. On that two-way, you know, pockets get tight every now and then. So, you know, it goes back to discipline. I had to, you know, learn, you know, business, financials, all that stuff like that. Probably the second most important thing other than your performance with your sport. In the Black community, coming from us, you know, a lot of guys start from nothing. Having someone there to, you know, teach you the financial side and the business side of things is huge because you don't want to be taken advantage of at all. And, you know, my mom's my agent, you know, because I trust her. And, you know, how his dad is, you know, super good with finances. He knows his dad always going to have his back. And I feel like, you know, SleepNation can also be that for kids. You know, they know that you guys have their back no matter what. Going back to is hard, but it's fair. I understood. You know, you put yourself not in this hole, but you put yourself in this position. And, man, that was some of the hardest I've ever worked in my life. And it was fun.
The second half, he was unbelievable.
What they did the first half to build the league.
Jackson.
It's not bad hoops. Whoever's in the G League, I'll be honest, doesn't want to be there. But because they love basketball so much, you know, they'll go to these, you know, lower star hotels, or they'll get on the bus that's not as fancy as the Grizzlies bus, and it won't affect them at all. Like, I feel like it didn't affect me. And, you know, because my love for the game is so strong. I feel like people really don't realize that. They like, they're, you know, doing it for a check or different things like that. Like, nah, this guy actually loves this game and he wants to, you know, get the fullest out of it. So it's not only a chance to work on my game, but, you know, for them to see what they have down here in this young kid. At the time, I was playing at a high level, but I remember everything that happened in college when I started playing at a high level, how the distraction started to get to me, how I started to get the big head, or, you know, I'm not going to class and different things like that. So all that followed me to, you know, on this two-way and into the G League. So I'm really trying to be as straight and narrow as possible, doing everything the right way. And just waiting your opportunity, you know. Like, you know, our general manager, he knew every game, he saw every minute, you know, read every stat. So if I was out there BSing, you know, taking it for granted, like I'm on this two-way, like I don't care, like, yeah, I'll probably still be on the two-way or out of a job right now. So just, I took every game like I was in the NBA, or I was on the Grizzlies floor with those guys. I got called up, it was probably like 5 minutes left in the game or something like that. One of our players got fouled, but he got hurt at the same time, so he wasn't able to shoot the free throws. So the opposing team, they get to pick who on the roster they want to shoot these free throws. And they saw that I was the only one that didn't have no tick. And they called me out there. I was so fucking scared, bro. I missed the first free throw, made the second one. I think that same game I got an and-one dunk. And then literally after that, it's crazy how God works. Everybody started getting hurt. And that's how I eventually was able to, you know, go out and do my thing.
Into a 2-point lead, Jaren's three.
Chicago Bulls game, we played here in Memphis. We had the black jerseys on. Before this game, I already had a couple NBA games under my belt, and I had like some great performances in those games. I really wasn't thinking about it at all, because I knew, you know, just stay focused, like just try to stay consistent.
Yes!
think I had like 27. And after the game, Ja was walking with me, and then I saw our general manager, and I thought I was in trouble for something. Pulled me into the office, and all our, assistant GMs and, people in power, they were all there. And they let me know how, I finally earned a contract. It didn't really hit me probably till after I walked out of there. I'm not there yet where I want to be in basketball, but in that moment, you kind of made it. I've gotten off the two-way, and I'm, finally in a solidified roster spot. Probably one of the happiest moments of my life.
Very excited about Gigi's growth, even just over the course of the season.
Surreal feeling. Slowly I started to, gain the respect among my peers that, I'm not just, this tall, lanky kid. I can actually put the ball in the basket.
From when we first sat down with him, Gigi has proven to be very, very open, very receptive, very coachable. Gigi wants to be great. Gigi's stringing it together in a meaningful way that's, impacting winning basketball, in large part. And with the frame, that he has, that's a, the mold of a wing that we haven't, really had, recently. And very excited about, he has more work to do, most definitely, but we believe in him. I think he's going to keep putting in the work, and we're going to do our part certainly to help him realize that potential.
On the court, just being able to find some type of consistency. Really, I just want to be a rotational guy. If I'm out there on the floor, I just have to find a way to affect winning. So this year, not overthinking it, but having fun out there, but at the same time staying locked in. He's locked in. Jalen, he's not gonna BS around, from his discipline, how he wakes up the same way every day. When he came in, that's why I thank God for Jalen, bro. You have no idea, bro. He came in and changed my entire mindset. Not by, talking to me, but just seeing his work ethic, seeing how he carries himself like a truly grown man. And I told him when we was in Miami, like, I know I may have a year in the league over you, but you're older than me, like, you my big homie. So like, I'm really looking up to you. And that just comes with humbling yourself. So to me, I feel like you guys can help all kind of athletes, not just, basketball, but since we're Hoopers, specifically basketball, those small knit communities, or, someone who's not looked at as much in a huge community of basketball. And not just, coming to camps and stuff like that, but, they see our stories, they see our journeys and how we came up, leaving an impression on people. I feel like SleepNation can, eventually leave an impression on the nation. Kind of, like a huge agency, but how you guys are doing films and different things like that, just being a world treat for people. Kind of a safe haven for not only hoopers, but, people with inspiring dreams that, may not be looked at that moment. You're doing the best you can, and you're getting the results that you want to get, but people just aren't seeing it for some odd reason. I don't know why, people, glaze certain people and things like that. Just eyes not being open to, the possibilities of, making something out of nothing. And I feel like, from the small community I came from, I was able to make something out of nothing. I feel like I was slept on in those early stages, middle school, stuff like that. Even when I started dunking in middle school, that's still the same goofy kid with the goggles and stuff. Being slept on is kind of like being underrated.